Hello, Darrell Weaver for Lieutenant Governor. It's an honor to be here today and to be in this interview. I tell you, my life has been about public service. I started out many years ago as a young man in narcotics enforcement and spent 28 years at the Bureau of Narcotics. The last 9 years as the agency director. When I retired from that, I went into the state senate. And mine's about results. Proven leadership driven by common sense. When I was at the Bureau, we started a Human Trafficking unit. There's nothing more compelling than having rescued a young child and her mother coming up and saying, "That was my child you rescued." There's not anything more compelling to be laying in a marijuana field with a machine gun trying to stop the cartels from invading Oklahoma. I did that. There's nothing more compelling than getting a prescription monitoring program that our medical professionals could do in real time to try to stop the opioid epidemic. Or taking unused, unwanted prescriptions out of cabinets. We started the Take Back program. Now there's 270 boxes all over Oklahoma law enforcement. It's results driven. When I got in the Senate after my time with the Bureau, elected in 2018, I have been a champion of domestic violence victims, human trafficking victims, the elderly, all the law enforcement, just about every positive bill that's come out when it has to do with law enforcement, whether it be trooper rates or jail standards act. I've had my DNA on that. It's about service. It's not about politics for the Lieutenant Governor. It's about public service. My wife and I are small business owners, and she's a medical doctor, and we started with one clinic, and now we have multiple clinics. And I'm going to tell you, we know about making a payroll. We know the value of small business in these communities. We know that when you get a call in one of your offices and the young nurse says, "It's awful warm in this office and it's July, we're about to see patients." We'll come to find out she went outside and somebody needed the $70 worth of copper, worse than we needed an air conditioner that day. We have to replace that. We're not owned by a private equity or a hospital. We're owned by ourselves. So we understand small business. I have really 5 pillars I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. Number 1, I'm running for economic development and workforce development all over the state, and emphasis in rural Oklahoma. The second thing is aviation. I'm a pilot. I'm the vice chair of aviation and appropriations, and we're doing great things in Oklahoma. It's the second leading industry. It's $44 billion. Second only to oil and gas. And with that, with my aviation experience and my knowledge of the state airports, we can do so much in Oklahoma with that. My third pillar is tourism. I want to be specific with tourism. There's going to be things, every town has something to offer people and something to say, showcase these communities, and I want to emphasize that. The fourth pillar of the 5 is health. Our clinics, my wife and I's clinics, are about healthy medicine, and we believe Oklahoma needs to be healthier. We need to move more. We need to eat better. We need to do these things. We understand, and we do prescriptions in our practice, but what we do firmly understand is that we can do better. We can do better in Oklahoma health-wise. And then the 5th and final one is really public safety. I'll always be a public safety, having spent in 2014, I had my highest honor. I was inducted into the Oklahoma Law Enforcement Hall of Fame, one of the youngest members ever. So I've always said about public safety, as a chair right now in the state senate, if your house is on fire, you better have a fire truck coming. If you have riots in the streets, you will not worry about your potholes. So we have to have good public safety in Oklahoma, and I will always be a supporter of that. In conclusion, I say to all the interviews and all the people we've been in front of, my wife and I have been after this campaign since April the 21st of last year. We've been all over Oklahoma. It's been a wonderful experience. But let me tell you, vet. Everybody needs to be drilled down on. Ask them hard questions. I ran a very visible agency for 9 years, and I was in the state senate for 8 years. You know Darrell Weaver. You know what he can do. You know the proven leadership. So vet me hard. The second thing is, and finally I'll say this, George Nye was the lieutenant governor for 16 years, and he was the governor for 8 years, and before we changed the law. But I'm going to tell you, Governor Nye wrote in his book, he said, the lieutenant governor is an insurance policy you hope you never have to use. A lot of people don't even really know what the lieutenant governor does, but I will say this. If something were to happen to the governor, whether it be something through some unfortunate accident or death, or even going to a higher office in Washington, D.C., you better pick a lieutenant governor that's proven and that can run the place. I often say, and people kind of giggle, I said, I'm probably the only lieutenant governor's candidate in the history of the state of Oklahoma that's ever been shot at for the state. I'm very proud of that because of service. And I'll conclude with this. In 1960, the elections in Oklahoma and in the United States, they changed. Up until that point, it was really about public service. In the presidential election of 1960, something interesting happened. Up until that point, we had vast majority of people that served as president were in the military. There were landowners and business owners. There was, and it's shocking to me, up till 1960, there were 12 presidents that were actually generals in the Army. That's pretty remarkable. But in 1960, something changed. And I don't want to ever disparage the fact that John F. Kennedy sacrificed his life for this nation. But that election changed. TV got involved, a lot of money got in those races, and it almost ended up shifting from really public service to how flashy or how much money we can put in these campaigns. I'm of the opinion Oklahoma and the whole nation needs to get back to public service. We need to vet these candidates. Well, how have they served us? How have they served? Are they just in it for another position? So I'm Darrell Weaver for Lieutenant Governor. I want you to look at us, Darrell Weaver for LieutenantGovernor.com. We're all over Facebook. Vet us, watch us, and I think you'll be real pleased. I want your vote. June 16th, I want your vote. I've always been someone that has made things better everywhere I was at, and I will make the Lieutenant Governor of Oklahoma better in that position. Thank you, and God bless you.